Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So last episode, we started up the season simulation after having free agency, and as you can see so far, we are 22, 10, and 9. So it's a little bit of a weird start to the season. The team hasn't been as good, I'd say, as we were at this point last season, but I do think this team still definitely is probably going to be a playoff team just because of the way Agostino and Michkov and like our top players are going. Now we do have a little bit, I think, of a lack of problems well, not a lack of problems, but a bit of problems in terms of our special teams, if I remember right. It's been a couple of days since I recorded. Let me check again. So we're good at scoring goals. We're not really that great at keeping the puck out of the net, so the defensive core might need to make some changes too. Like, we do have guys in the minors we could call up if we really need to. But yeah, our power play hasn't been terrible so far, but it's not been great either. And our penalty kill has been really bad, so I did go ahead and make some line changes to see if that will help out the team a little bit, considering it wasn't performing that well. But I also did make changes to our 5-on-5 line, so I decided to move Sebastian Ajo up to the top line because he was doing better than Geeky was, so Geeky's down to the second line. I could honestly flip him and Norris around, really doesn't matter. And then hopefully that gives also Shelly more of an opportunity to score goals, because it seems like whenever Ajo is playing with Shelly, that Shelly doesn't score as much, and he's only got 13 goals halfway through the season, so that's why I made that change. But the rest of the lines are pretty much the exact same. The defensive core still, we do have an injury to Chikrin, so once he returns, hopefully this gets a little bit better. And then goalie-wise, it's still obviously going to be the exact same, so that's that. And then, like I said, I did make some changes to the special teams, so I did move Shelly up to the top unit because he was on the second power play unit. That could also be why he wasn't scoring that much. Michkov is going to be on the point when Ajo's there, as well Agostino, and this would be Chikrin once he returns. And then the second unit, I did change it up as well because McIntyre was on the power play, and I don't think he's really suited for the power play, so I decided to put Redmond on it instead. And then Geeky's going to be running the point because he's more of a shooter than like Bentley is and all that type of thing. So basically that's what I have our lineup looking like in power play wise. And penalty kill wise, I decided to give Agostino some penalty kill time because Agostino is one of the best players in this franchise mode for sure. He's had some really good seasons as of late since we acquired Michkov, and as you can see, short-handed point wise, he's got a decent amount of short-handed points, so I think he could do decently well there. He also has a lot of takeaways in his career, so he might be a very good penalty killer. So I am giving a chance for him to play on the top penalty kill unit with Ajo. And I also decided to put Calvin Shelley on the penalty kill. He hasn't been on the penalty kill since I think his first season or something like that, but I decided to give him an opportunity too since I think he does fit the penalty kill unit. And he's decent in terms of his defensive ratings and stuff like that and shot blocking, so maybe that could help out the unit a little bit. So yeah, hopefully those get our numbers up there and whatnot. See, that's basically that. I didn't get any comments as of this recording because I am recording this like 3 hours after you guys could have seen the episodes. So it's just I really wanted to get the rest of the season simulated just to see how this team would do for the rest of the year. So I might not make any changes in this episode in terms of trades, but we will see if it comes to it. Like I said before, though, we do have a lot of guys in the minors that we could call up, so I don't really think trading is necessary. Because you can see like Kagerodov could come up. We could always like send McIntyre back down. We also still have like Udstorf who could jump onto our fourth line. Pennard I could jump there. Delmo is even close. Bykov could even be a depth forward. And then defensively, Hordichuk and Bilesma have been really good down there, plus minus wise. So I might want to keep them down there the entire year. But if it comes to the playoffs and we absolutely need another defenseman, I could call up one of them. And maybe that defensive core will be a lot better then. But yeah, our defensive core down there in the AHL has been phenomenal so far. And also, Galiev is technically ready almost to be a backup goalie, but he won't be in the NHL till next season. Unless, for some reason, both goalies are not doing too good in the playoffs. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. So, anyways, that is that. And yeah, let's continue simulating. Hopefully, we could continue winning games. And hopefully, Agostino can continue his pace he's on because he's got 55 points through 41 games. If he finishes with 110 points or more, he will have the best season I've ever had from a player in a franchise mode. The prior highest I've ever had was 109 points from a guy in the Thrashers series, but I haven't had a player put up that much amount of points in a long time. So very much hoping that Agostino could finish with like 110 points. That'd be really awesome. but more than likely his pace will probably drop off a bit, I would say. But you never really know, considering he is playing with Matvei Michkov. And now that Aho is up there on the top line, maybe he will start scoring more even. But anyways, let's continue simulating up until the trade deadline and see how this team does. We will do the trade deadline in this episode as well, just because I would like to get the rest of the regular season done and see if we could go for that second cup. That would be really awesome if we could. Okay, so let's go all the way to February the 1st and see how we do, as Chikrin is already back, which is great news to start off this episode. Just because Goldman hasn't been really cutting it as a depth defenseman, but it's okay. He's just there for now because I don't want to have like Bilesma being scratched. So that's why he's there. Game against Dallas is a 3-2 loss. Game against Nashville is a 4-3 win. Okay. And Sasaki has injured his stomach. So once again, we have to see that depth defenseman. And I think that's the third time actually this season that Sasaki has had an injury, which is very problematic, if I'm not mistaken. We win 8-2 over the Habs, and now Aho has fractured his elbow. What the heck is with these injuries? Well, that is a big loss. Aho is getting old, and now he fractures his elbow. I guess we'll go back to something like this. Shishkinov back to the second line. For now, I'm going to put in Wolf, I think. Wait, which one of those depth guys would be better? Who's the better fit for that third line? Wolf's not a hugely great fit. Gallant might be the option. Yeah, Gallant's going to be in that spot. And there you go, that's good. But still, that's a really big loss to lose Aho. Means I need to change up the power play lines a bit. Move Bentley up, and then Gallant doesn't play faceoffs. So I'm going to have to move him there and move him to the wing. Change it up like that. But that's a really big loss to lose... what is his name? Sebastian Ajo. I don't know why I forgot his name for a second. We'll change that up as well. I'll have Gallant taking face-offs for that unit. Actually, let's just do a small change like that. Just because Ajo's injury is not too long-term. Let me stop the simulation because I can't see what's happening because of all these injuries. We did win a lot of games in a row, which is good, but we do have those injuries to deal with. But yeah, I think Sasaki's been down with injuries 3 times this season, which is not great because we need him to stay healthy if we want to win a Stanley Cup potentially, because he's a good shutdown defenseman. But we do have depth defenders in the minors, like I said, I could call up at any point. So there's that. There's a 5-4 loss to Colorado, and Agostino has separated his shoulder. No, I honestly want to restart recording this episode, but oh my god. He was off to a career best season. There was a chance he could have had 110 points. Now he's separated his shoulder. He will return for March 30th, which is good, so he's not going to miss any playoff time. But that is a major loss for this team. Wow, this team is getting pooped on injury-wise. Who wants to get an opportunity on the top line? I don't know about Shelley, because I feel like he wouldn't get much goal scoring with Michkov up there. Who do I put up there, is the question. Shishkinov? I don't know. Who's got really good fit for the top line? I don't know who I want to put there, to be honest. I might have to put Shelley. Or I could put Redmond, maybe. Yeah, let's give Redmond an opportunity. Might as well see what the kid's made of, considering he hasn't been up that high in the lineup before. So yeah, we'll throw Wolf into this spot, and we'll go down to here. We'll change this up a bit. Jeez, these injuries are really not great. We lose Aho, and then we lose Agostino. Losing Agostino is probably the biggest blow this team has suffered in a very long time. We'll throw Shelley into this spot. But yeah, our team looks considerably weaker with those injuries. And Agostino doesn't come back for still like another month, is it? I think so. Oh, and now Shishkinov has injured his elbow. What is this? I don't even have the injuries turned up. They're still at the normal, like, 9 that I've always had it at. What the heck is happening? Let's go replace player. Oh my goodness. We should have somebody back soon, right? How are we standings-wise? We are still first in our division with 66 points, but, yeah, Agostino 72 points in 49 games. And he suffers that injury. This game really hates me sometimes. I mean, we have a 28, 13, and 10 record, which is good, but we've lost considerably good players to injury, and now we're playing, I think, yeah, Goldman's playing forward, but he's an offensive defenseman, so I don't think I think that's okay to go with him on that line, but still, we have all three of our depth players in the lineup right now. These three big injuries to forwards. Like, at least Shishkinov is going to return soon. Agostino dropped back down to a 92 because of the injury, but he's out till March the 30th, so he's out for, another month plus, actually 2 months almost. And then Sebastian Ajo should return somewhat soon, I think. But still, to lose Agostino that long term is a big slap in the face from this game. Yikes. Like, I could call up guys from the minors to fill out the spots instead, but I don't want to have to send players through waivers. Like, Kagerodov would go through waivers, and honestly, there's no reason to put him through waivers because he's a really good goal scorer. Utsdorf, I could call him up and have no problems, but I don't really want to do that, I don't think. Yeah, he's having a really good year down here. I just don't want to play with any problems down there in minors. Like, the minors are doing so good, might as well not risk them losing games and stuff like that. But I think the NHL team should be still making the playoffs, even with the fact that we just lost Agostino for a little bit. I don't think we're going to make any trades still unless this team just falls apart this month. But, yeah, hopefully we don't have a lot of games this month. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of games. It's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. And more than that, actually, because we still have to wait all the way to here till we get Agostino back. Oh, why is he injured so long term? But at least he's going to be back for the playoffs, which is good. So, but still, separating his shoulder, that is not great. That's his first major injury of his career as well. Shishkinov has returned, which is great news, because at least that gives us a little bit of scoring in terms of our lineup and doesn't have a defenseman playing forward. And Ajo should be returning in the next few days. And then we're just waiting on Agostino, but really sucks for him considering he was probably on pace for the best season I've ever had from a player in franchise mode. So, and now we could change up our lineup again, which is good. So we will move. Who was it? Geeky was going to be down here. Norris was on the wing. Shishkinov was down here. Wolf is on the spot, I believe that Agostino was. So we want to take Gallant out and throw Ajo into here, right? And then we want to go to special teams, change this up a little bit. So basically, it would change to Geeky on the point, Redmond over here, Ajo up here, Bentley down there. And I think that's good, if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to remember with all these injuries that we just randomly suffered. Let's do that. That's good there. And yeah, I think it was maybe it was something like this, I think. I can't remember exactly, to be honest. Yeah, the rest of that's fine, I think. But yeah, our lineup is still a little bit weak, but once we get Agostino back, this team will be much better. But we're getting growth from McIntyre and stuff like that, so I'm liking that. There's a loss over the Blues. Against the Blues, we win against Buffalo. We lose to Calgary. Yeah, we're going to have a much rougher month probably because Agostino is still out. But, I mean, we're still winning games, getting points. And now Kagerodov has been injured in the minors. That's not good. That was the guy I was going to potentially call up, but he goes through waivers. So, 32, 17, and 11 at March the 1st. We still have to wait 29 days for Agostino. He's not leading the team in points anymore. It's Matvei Michkov, who's got 82 points in 60 games, so he's definitely finished over point per game this season, unless for some reason he gets injured, or if he doesn't put up any points in the next 22 games, which I really doubt. But we are still one of the best teams in the league, it looks like, but the Atlantic has the two best teams right now in the Sabres and the Red Wings, but we're definitely still up there in points, which is good, considering the fact we lost Agostino already a month ago at this point. So let's continue to simulate. Like I said, I don't think we're going to make trades because it's kind of pointless with the guys in the minors and stuff like that. Like, those players that we'd be trading for are just going to be rentals if it was the case. But unless there's somebody really intriguing on the block, but I really don't think there's going to be. So Kagerodov is back. That's good news for the AHL. Wow, Kagerodov jumped to an 81. This might be statistical growth. I don't really know. But I'd like to get him into the NHL lineup. I just don't like that he goes through waivers. But it is what it is. Okay, so we have one more game left before the trade deadline, but 34, 17, and 11. Let's take a quick look and see if there's any problems really with this team at this moment. If we're not having a good goals against, it's probably because we have like our top guys getting injured and stuff like that. So it's not the end of the world. We are still one of the best offensive teams, tied with the Buffalo Sabres, so that's good. Goals against per game wise, we are still not playing that great defensively, which is a bit but I mean, it could be improved in the playoffs, who knows. Power play looks like it's getting better, which is good. Yeah, our power play is still one of the best, I think. And maybe it was actually one of the best before, but I did make changes and it's doing still pretty good. And our penalty kill has improved, but it's still one of the worst in the NHL. But it could be because Agostino got injured. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know if this team needs to make changes. We're just not the best defensive team, and we're not great penalty kill wise. But once it comes to the playoffs, maybe it'll be better. Or I could take a look at our defensive core and see if there's anybody that's really badly plus minus wise. So we'll do that quickly, because maybe we need a defensive upgrade like we did last year, where we acquired Carson Lambos. So the Sasaki and Chikrin pairing is doing good. Tukinen and Guerrero is doing good, and it's the DeMaio and Burkhoff pairing that's not working out. DeMaio is a -7 through 62 games. He seems like a bit of an outlier, so I am going to move Burkhoff up to play with Tukinen, and then I'm going to try Guerrero with DeMaio and see if that helps out a little bit in terms of DeMaio's play, but I don't think we need to make a trade unless there's a good defenseman on the block. Then maybe I trade away DeMaio, considers guys in the minors coming up. I don't really know. Because, I mean, DeMaio's not bad. He's been with us for a few years, but this year, compared to last year, his plus minus is much worse, but he's playing with a worser defenseman, I guess, so maybe it makes a little bit of sense. Let's just take a look and see if there's any good defensemen on the block, and if there is not, then I don't think we're going to make any trades. I might just trust in our system, because like I said, we could just call up like Hordachuk from the AHL or something, if we really need to. Okpozo 79, not much of an upgrade. Looking maybe for like a similar thing to Lambos, like I was saying. So like an 83 or something like that. Pedersen was put on the block by Colorado after they signed him to a 7-year deal. Trading for him, but that's kind of funny. Brandon Carlo, but 2 years left. Werenski on 1 year left is pretty good, but I don't think I have the assets to trade for him. He does fit our top 4. That's interesting. It'd probably make us have to trade away one of our defensive prospects to get him. I'll look at Werenski and see if there's any trade offers that we could do for him. But I'll do that after we take a look if there's any other guys. Rasmus Anderson, not really. Nothing there. And then on Florida, we don't really have a whole lot. Nothing really LA-wise. Philip Peronic, not really. Thomas Chabot still signed for 4 years. Same with Cam York. And with Matthew Robertson. Mackey has 2 years left. If only this guy had 1 year left, I'd trade for him. But 2 years left, he does fit our top pairing and our penalty kill. That would be really good, but making 7.28, I don't know if we'll have the cap flexibility to bring everybody back. I mean, he's definitely an upgrade over some defensemen. Maybe I'll look at Mackey as well. But 2 years left is the part I don't really like. If he had 1 year left, I'd definitely try and trade for him, I think. It's just I'm not sure how much cap space we're going to have in the offseason. So, anybody else that is intriguing? Nothing in Philly, really. Actually, whoever this Breland guy is. Fits our top 6 pairings, but he's an 85, so it'd be kind of too high of a spot, or too low of a spot in the lineup to play him, I'd say, on the top 6. San Jose has not really anything. Same with Seattle. St. Louis, not really either. Nothing in Tampa. Nothing in Toronto. Nothing in Vancouver. Ty Smith, but 3 years left. Chernak got 1 year left, is not bad, but he's making $6 million. But he does fit our top 4. Maybe Chernak, I don't know. Nothing there in Washington. And Victor Soderstrom there in Winnipeg. Lassie Thompson and Chalowski is not bad either, but I don't really know about these guys. Bodie Wild and Josh Brook. Let's look at Mackey and whoever that other defenseman is that was in. Was it Detroit? I don't remember what team it was. Let's take a look, though, and see what type of offers they'd want for somebody like that. Was it Detroit that had a guy on the block? Or was it a different team? It probably is not Detroit, right? Because they're a contending team. It wasn't Edmonton either. Who was it that had somebody that was actually interesting? I can't even remember who it was. Who was it? Or I might have to look back on the block again. I might have to look back on the block. Dallas? No. Edmonton? No, it wasn't Rasmus Anderson. Wasn't Florida. Wasn't LA. It must have been a team earlier. Let's see, Mackey, there's no trades, so we probably can't trade for Mackey. We could trade a prospect if we really wanted to, but like I said, I don't know if we'll have the cap space to bring somebody like him in for next season. But he's still a really intriguing player, especially on 2 years left and being an 87. He's already a plus 26 this season. Like, he'd be a really good defensive defenseman to bring in. Maybe we'd trade for Mackey still. I don't really know. Who was the other guy I was looking at, though? Because I honestly don't remember for some reason now. It was an early on team. Who was it? Wasn't Okposo. Wasn't anybody there. Oh yeah, it was Zach Werenski. That's who it was. I don't know why I forgot about him. But yeah, Zach Werenski might be the better option just because he's got the 1 year left. And then next year, maybe we could trade for Mackey if we're in a contending spot again. But Zach Werenski, what are they wanting? Appleby a third and a third. That's one of our top offensive prospects and then 2 third-round picks. It does upgrade our defensive core, but like I said, I'd have to get rid of somebody on our defensive core in order to make room for Werenski. Unless we wanted to use, what's his name, as depth. Is there anybody else that's intriguing to them on the block? It's not a defenseman, not really. I mean, it makes sense to get rid of DeMaio, maybe, because of the fact Bylsma and Hordichuk are on the uprise. A lot of these other defensemen are all 1 year left. Somebody on this defensive core could go. And yeah, I think I'm leaning towards getting rid of DeMaio in this trade instead of Appleby, if we could do that. I don't know, Appleby might have too much trade value, because Appleby might be one of these guys I want to get into our lineup next season. We could try that. DeMaio in 2 thirds and an upgrade to Werenski. As he does fit our top 4, that would move Guerrero into the top 6 pairings. Probably with like Tukinen. And then we get an 86 overall defenseman for 1 year. You know what, we're going to try that. It's 2 thirds and DeMaio for Werenski. And that's rejected, but it is quite close, apparently. So we will change one of these thirds, which is, I guess, for this season. We'll change that to a second rounder and actually get it done. I wasn't going to make any changes. Actually, we do not have a second rounder for this year, so... Wait. Oh, they still wanted the third for this year, so we'll do that. We'll take away the third for next year and give them a second for next year. But yeah, I think this makes sense for us, though. Once again, it's another defensive upgrade, just because our team hasn't been great so far. And then we get in another really good defenseman for 1 year, another rental player, and hopefully it helps us out defensively and getting into a chance to win another Stanley Cup. So DeMaio, a third and a second for Werenski, and that is accepted. So goodbye to DeMaio. Kind of sucks to move him out, but somebody eventually had to go on that defensive core because of the young guys in the minors that are trying to push them out. So it makes sense. We are going to call up Werenski, and he's going to be into our top 4. Gives us another veteran player as well, which is good, I think, for some of the younger players on this team. So we are going to move Burkov down with Guerrero. And then Tukinen can play either side. Werenski could only play left side, I guess. So we'll throw Werenski in there. And that works it out a little bit. And yeah, that's good. That is good. And our team looks like this now. Still, offense looks the exact same. But our defense looks a little bit stronger with the addition, I think, of Werenski. He should retire pretty soon as well. So it's not like... We might be able to get him for cheaper next offseason if we wanted to keep him around, but I don't think it's mandatory for us to do that. And then Columbus gets a little bit of a younger defenseman. that we don't really need anymore at this stage, because we do got guys in the minors that are going to be contending for his top 6 spot eventually next season. And yeah, DeMaio gets into their top 4 and gets a little bit more ice time. He's apparently in the AHL right now, which is kind of dumb, but they'll probably call him up at some point. Okay, so that is the only trade we are going to make. I'm not going to take a look at the actual trade deadline itself, just because that's our only trade we're going to make to upgrade the defensive core. Just like last season, we brought in Lambos. This season, we bring in Werenski, and hopefully that helps us out. And maybe it was a good idea we did that, because Sasaki's been injured, I think, for the 4th time this year, which is ridiculous. He's been injured that much. So let's just go replace player. But yeah, that's not good. We're just going to go continue simulating, because we're not going to actually take a look at anything like that. But I think that's 4 times this year that Sasaki's been down, because last episode I'm pretty sure he went down 2 times, and this year he's gone down, or this episode he's gone down 2 times, so that is kind of bad. Hopefully he's not that type of defenseman that just keeps getting injured, though, because hopefully next season he could stay healthy and whatnot. But anyways, let's continue to simulate. When is actually Sasaki back in? And I know Agostino's back at the end of this month, which is good news, because we definitely need him going into the playoffs. It's pending evaluation. I don't remember what it said, but I think both of them are going to be back for the playoffs, which is good, because we definitely need them in order to play good defensively and also get that offensive touch that Agostino has. Okay, let's continue to simulate. Push Pushkarov on waivers. No thank you. No interest in a 75 overall defenseman. We win 4-1 over Vegas, losing to the Canucks and the Kraken, but one was an OT. Osgood injured in the AHL. Let's go replace player. But yeah, it looks like the team's playing a little bit better defensively since the acquisition of Werenski a little bit. Maybe that's just me. Let's go over here, put Osgood back in. But yeah, see, these two are going to eventually take over that spot that, not Osgood, what's his name? DeMaio was in, so like it makes sense to move him out. Sasaki's back again, and hopefully he can stay healthy this time around, because this dude's probably only played like 40-50 games. I feel like I don't even know how much games he's played this year. There's an 8-2 win, there's a 3-2 win, and Agostino is back, and I am so happy that he's back, because we missed him definitely. We are going to make some line changes again, because we got to get him back in. And we're going to take out Wolf and throw in Agostino, who's back to a 93 because he's healthy. McIntyre's up to an 81 on that 4th line, so that makes our team definitely look a little bit stronger. Let's go back to our special teams and readjust this again to making it where I had it before those injury problems decided to slap us in the face. So there's that. And then Agostino is in that spot. That's good. And there. That's perfect. Okay, so our team looks much better with the acquisition of Agostino back in. And let's see how this team does for the last little bit. We still have 7 more games this season. Yeah, 7 more games. Let's get those simulated. Not our best season that we've ever had, but those injuries probably kept us back a little bit, I'd say. As Shishkinov has injured his elbow and is out till April the 20th. So now Shishkinov has been injured again, and that sucks. We're going to miss him for the first round. Our team all of a sudden is doing really well, and we go into the playoffs on a 7-game winning streak and finish 49-21-12. Shishkinov will be back in the middle of next round, but it does suck to lose him. Okay, so let's take a look at our team stats and player stats for the season and see who did what. So in terms of the entire league, we finished 2nd best in the NHL, only behind the Buffalo Sabres by 7 points, though, which is kind of nuts. Goals for per game, we were the 3rd best offensive team behind the New Jersey Devils and the Buffalo Sabres. Goals against per game wise, we were one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, so we drastically improved, I think, after we acquired Werenski, because weren't we one of the worst defensive teams at one point, or was it just our penalty kill? I think we drastically improved. I could be completely wrong with that, but we look like we did. Power play percentage wise, we were one of the best power play teams, and in our penalty kill drastically improved as well since acquiring Werenski. That is good, because it used to be like 79%, and now it's at 82%. It's still not the best one in the league, but it drastically improved. And then our home record was pretty good. Our away record was decent as well. Only 3 shorthanded goals this season. Let's take a look at those player stats for this season. See what we did. So Sebastian Ajo, only 65 points in 75 games. Not too bad considering he's dropping off a lot, but obviously his contract is not the greatest. So I really hope he retires at the end of the season so we don't have to deal with like a 78 overall that's making 11 million, because that would kind of suck. Geeky, 65 points, not too bad, plus 30. That's not too bad at all. That's actually his best season yet, so good stuff from Connor Geeky. He's starting to play a lot better than I expected to. Norris, 60 points, not too bad for a free agent signing that's only making 825k. Like that. We probably won't be able to bring him back in the offseason though, because he might demand for a lot of money. Bentley, 55 points, really good. And then Wolf had 4 points since being put in the lineup. So in terms of our centerman, really good depth scoring right there. Left wing wise, Agostino had 83 points in 57 games because he missed the last 25 games, I guess, due to injury. Imagine if he would have played a full season. He would have definitely had like over 100 points, but still a really good year for him. Like you look from a couple years ago, he had 82 points in 82 games, but then he puts up 83 in 57 games. Like that's unreal. He was definitely on pace to break the 100 points, and he probably would have had 110 points this year or something like that. Really sucks about that injury, but we still have him at least for another season, and then we'll have to give him a big contract. Shishkinov, 52 points, really solid. McIntyre, 31 points, not too bad. -8, which is not great, but he's playing fourth line minutes. McGill's was 22 points in a -10, so yeah, that fourth line was out there for goals against. Right wing wise, Matvei Michkov still hit 100 points without Agostino being in the lineup the full time. 50 goals and 51 assists for 101 points. He had a really good second half in terms of scoring. The exact same point total as last season, and he's now had 3 straight 101 to 102 point seasons with us, which is unreal. Shelley, 74 points, so he really stepped up as well in the second half of the season, because he did start off the season with only 13 goals in 41 games, I think it was. So he definitely had a better second half. 74 points and a +20 as well. So good defensive sniper stats. Redmond, 45 points, considering he got a lot more ice time once Agostino was injured. Only 24 points for Cyrus Gallagher, but it kind of makes sense because he got a lot of ice time. I feel like this guy's gone in the offseason because of the fact we got guys in the minors that could take his spot, but I could be wrong. 9 points in 10 game from Uriel Gallant, so not bad from the depth guy. Defensively, Chikrin only 40 points, but a +35. I'll definitely take that. And he is signed still for one more season, but he could end up retiring at the end of the year. Who really knows? Werenski, 36 points in 82 games. How much with us? 11 points and a +9. Pretty solid. Definitely helped us out defensively and picked up some points as well to boot. Tukinen, 31 points, +18. Really good from him. 20 points from Burkov. He had 10 goals and 10 assists. Interesting. Guerrero, 16 points, +22. Sasaki, 12 points in a +22. And yeah, he only played in 64 games, so he missed like 20 games almost. Wait, he missed less games than Agostino did, so I guess he had shorter term injuries, but still interesting. And then Goldman actually had 4 points as a depth defenseman and was a +7. Goalie wise, Hornquist was not fantastic, but he was pretty good to an extent. Beauregard really had a better second half of the season because he started off like with an .896 save percentage, I think, but he finishes with a .916, and he picked up more shutouts than Hornquist, which is interesting. So that's pretty good. So there is our player stats. Agostino still finished second on the team in points despite missing so many games. And then we look at entire league-wise, the most points was Nico Hischier with 114. If Agostino had a full season, he probably would have finished up here in the top 3, I'm guessing. Best goal scorer this season, Gauthier Leduc in New York with 60 goals. Best defenseman this season, Adam Fox with the Rangers with 75 points. Best goalie this season in terms of wins, Carter Hart with 43, but also tied with Moises Dwyer. Most shutouts by a starting goalie was Pascal Lacroix with 6. Best save percentage by a starter was Tucker Tynan in Boston with a .914. Stefan Pettersson was up there, but he barely played because he's playing as a backup behind an 89 overall goalie, so that's kind of weird. Goals against wise by a starter, yes, Pettersson could have won a Vezina if he was a starter in Colorado, but they're not using him like that. But Tucker Tynan more than likely will win the Vezina, looks like. And then best rookie for points this year was Jerome Phaneuf in Vegas with 61 points. He had 34 goals as well. Interesting. Let me take a quick look at our AHL team for points out of curiosity, because a lot of those guys are important pieces for the future in the NHL. So Penner had 92 points and was a plus 49. He's an 82 overall. Damn. Yeah, our AHL team was absolutely insane this year. Look at the plus minus. A plus 54 for Udsorf. My God. Yeah, a lot of these guys... What the heck? Are you kidding me? That might be the most insane season I've ever seen two defensemen have in the AHL. What the heck? Hordachuk played his first season in the AHL. He was a plus 71. And then Bilesma was a plus 74 in his first full AHL season, I guess, considering last year he split time between NHL and AHL. But that is unreal. Our AHL team was absolutely insane. No minus players on the team. And the lowest plus minus on the team that played all 82 games was a plus 10. Wow. So that's definitely the best AHL team I've ever seen. They're probably going to be a first round exit though. And Kirill Galiev had 7 shutouts in the minors, which is unreal. 909 and a 229. And in Korea wasn't really that great on a good team, which is a little bit weird. Really good to see the AHL team doing as good as they are though. Hopefully they could get a Calder Cup or something. Okay, final thing, let's take a look at who we're facing in round 1 of the playoffs, and then that'll be it for this episode. All the playoff episodes will be pre-recorded, though. So we're going to be taking on the Nashville Predators. Interesting. Who went 41, 35, and 6. I think we played them at one point. I could be wrong with that. It might have been my Houston series, so maybe not. But here's their roster. So Kirk Estrada, Eric Kolyakovo, and Emilio Coyle. So a very solid top line. A lot of younger guys, actually. Second line, Drew Lawrence. So it looks like Lawrence left Dallas and signed in Nashville on a 2-year deal. He's on their second line with Tomasino and Nick Robertson, so he has some pretty good line mates. Third line, Eli Tolvanen still there, Francesco Pinelli, and JC Cruz, which is kind of a cool name. And a fourth line of Cody Glass, Philip Hedel, and Peyton Krebs. That forward core is actually really good. It's way better than I expected. Like, that fourth line's kind of gross overall-wise. A lot of veterans on this team as well, but it's a good mix. So I'm going to give them that. Good props to that offense. Defensively, they're quite a bit weaker, but they still got a good stud in Rick Versteeg, who's an 89. They also got Ross Reed on their defensive core, Jacob Larson, and Matthew Boumedienne. And then the top 6 pairing of Albert Trevica and Jackson Standard. So it's a pretty standard defensive core. Ha 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 ha. Bad joke. And then goalie-wise, Lincoln Rupp and Keaton Wall. Interesting. Depth-wise, Reed Morrison and Aaron Ortmeyer. So overall-wise, I think it's going to be maybe a tougher task than we think against this team. Like, they might be a lot better team than it looks on paper, because their defense, I'd say, is probably the most questionable part. Goaltending looks solid, and then the forward core looks really good. So really don't know what to make of that team, but... Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to round 1 against the Nashville Predators as we look to defend our chances at another Stanley Cup. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.